When Lieutenant Jessica Hale first climbed into the cockpit of her B-2 Spirit Street Elf bomber, she was just a rookie, barely 26, fresh out of advanced training, still memorizing every switch. No one, least of all Jessica herself, expected that her name would be whispered around briefing tables for decades after Operation Midnight Hammer, the night America struck deep into Iran's most fortified nuclear site. And by dawn, she'd gone from kid pilot to the one who saved the entire mission and possibly the world from a nuclear standoff. It all started with a single whispered order in a dark hangar. Before we dive into one of the most classified missions in modern military history, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. What you're about to hear is the kind of story that'll make you realize just how close we sometimes come to the edge. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this unfolds. So let me tell you about Lieutenant Jessica Hale. She's 26 years old, fresh-faced, incredibly disciplined, but let's be honest, she's still the new kid on the block. She's stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, which is basically the home of America's most secretive aircraft, the B-2 Spirit Street Elf bomber. These things cost $2.1 billion each. That's billion with a B. They're basically flying pieces of science fiction. Jessica had just completed her final certification flights a few weeks earlier. Her instructors trusted her technical skills. She was sharp, no doubt about it. But most of the veteran pilots, they still saw her as the eager kid. You know, the one who studied too hard and asked too many questions. Her first real operational assignment was supposed to be pretty routine, a high-altitude patrol mission. Nothing fancy, nothing dangerous. Just get some flight hours under her belt and prove she could handle the real deal. But sometimes the universe has other plans. Everything flipped upside down with one emergency briefing. Picture this. Jessica's just minding her own business, probably reviewing flight manuals for the 100th time, when suddenly she gets called into this classified briefing room. The intelligence guys drop a bombshell, literally. They discovered that Iran's Natanz nuclear facility was assembling uranium enrichment centrifuges way faster than anyone thought possible. We're talking about weapons-grade uranium production, the kind of stuff that keeps world leaders awake at night. So the president authorized something called Operation Midnight Hammer, a joint cyber and kinetic strike. And when I say kinetic, I mean they were going to blow stuff up. The spearhead of this operation? America's most secretive weapon, the B-2 fleet. And here's the kicker. By pure rotation luck, Jessica's name was on the alert roster. The rookie was about to get thrown into the deep end. When they laid out the target package, Jessica's jaw probably hit the floor. This wasn't some training exercise. They were talking about multiple deep-buried nuclear complexes, protected by some of the most advanced Russian-made air defense systems money could buy. The briefing room filled up with veteran crews, guys with thousands of combat hours, hard eyes, voices that stayed low because they'd seen things that would give you nightmares. And then Jessica's name gets called to fly lead aircraft with her aircraft commander. You could feel the surprise in the room. One pilot actually whispered, "Her? On this?" Imagine being Jessica in that moment. Her hands started shaking as she strapped into her flight gear, heart pounding so hard against her harness she could hear it over the engine noise. Hours later, they're flying through near pitch-black conditions over Iraq. Jessica's monitoring these silent radar sweeps, watching for any sign that enemy systems have spotted them. The B-2 is designed to be invisible to radar. It's this incredible piece of stealth technology, but the margins for error are razor thin. One wrong move, one tiny mistake, and you're lit up like a Christmas tree. Then her console starts going crazy. Iranian S-300 radar systems, some of the most sophisticated air defense equipment in the world, ping a faint ghost signature on their edge detection systems. They're getting close to a radar lock. Jessica's sitting there thinking, one wrong maneuver and this entire $2 billion bomber gets compromised. The mission fails, and America could be dragged into a shooting war by sunrise. Her aircraft commander, Major Collins, this veteran pilot who's been flying these missions since before Jessica could drive, he's preparing to abort the mission. Standard procedure when you're about to get detected. But Jessica's staring at her screens, and she notices something incredibly subtle. There's this barely perceptible dip in the radar feed, what looks like an atmospheric glitch that might actually be fooling the Iranian radar systems into thinking they're just clouds. She takes a deep breath and whispers, "Sir, if we hold exactly this altitude for another 60 seconds, we might fade right back under their radar horizon." The cockpit goes dead silent. Collins closes his eyes, makes a split-second decision to trust the rookie, and doesn't abort the mission. What happened next was absolutely nerve-wracking. The final approach required threading the needle at high altitude, staying invisible to radar while positioning perfectly over the target coordinates. Jessica's sweating through her flight suit. Her heart feels like a live electrical wire as she monitors multiple radar warning systems. One wrong move, and they're detected by Iranian air defenses. At 40,000 feet, the Iranian landscape spreads out below them in complete darkness. The nuclear bunker complex is completely blacked out. No lights, no external activity, everything designed to avoid detection. But Jessica knows it's there. The GPS coordinates are locked in. She takes manual control for the final positioning, making micro adjustments to ensure the massive bunker buster bomb will hit exactly where it needs to. The intelligence is solid, but the execution has to be perfect. The bomb bay doors open with this mechanical grinding sound. The B-2 shudders slightly as the 30,000-pound bunker buster drops away, beginning its long fall toward the hardened target far below. They bank hard to get out of the blast zone. Jessica's fighting the controls, trying to maintain their stealth profile while getting the hell out of there as fast as possible. Seconds later, this deep, earth-swallowing rumble rolls through the sky. It's not just sound. It's this physical force that lifts their wingtips and shakes the entire aircraft. Jessica's fighting the stick to keep them stable as shockwaves from the explosion buffet the bomber. On her console, seismic sensors are going crazy. Direct hit. Bunker destroyed. The primary target of Operation Midnight Hammer has just been obliterated. As they climb back towards safe altitude, the encrypted communication system explodes with chatter. Pentagon command centers are erupting in relief. Other strike groups are getting clearance to leave Iranian airspace. Jessica lets out this sob that she didn't even realize she'd been holding back. The stress, the fear, the incredible responsibility, it all hits her at once. Major Collins reaches over, squeezes her shoulder, and says something she'll never forget. "You just saved the damn operation, Lieutenant." A 26-year-old rookie pilot had just prevented what could have been World War I/II. Hours later, back at Whiteman Air Force Base, Jessica climbs down onto the tarmac. Her legs are shaking, her face is streaked with dried sweat and probably some tears, and she can barely believe what just happened. One by one, the veteran pilots, the same guys who'd been whispering about the rookie just hours earlier, approach her, but they're not offering handshakes or congratulations. Instead, they give her these silent, respectful nods. It's the unspoken language of warriors acknowledging one of their own. No more whispers about her being too young or too inexperienced, just pure awe at what she'd accomplished. A few weeks later, there's this quiet, closed ceremony. No cameras, no reporters, no headlines. The mission details would remain classified for decades. Most of the world would never know how close they'd come to a nuclear crisis. Jessica receives a commendation that she can never talk about publicly. But inside the tight-knit circle of B-2 crews, her name becomes legend. She's the rookie who steadied her nerves in the darkest night and helped prevent what could have been a much bloodier dawn. Picture Jessica standing alone next to the massive dark wing of her B-2 at sunset, one hand resting on the cool composite skin of this incredible machine, eyes closed, lips moving slightly, whispering something that only she and the sky will ever hear. Maybe it's a prayer of gratitude. Maybe it's a promise to the people she saved. Or maybe it's just the quiet words of someone who knows they've been part of something bigger than themselves. Stories like Jessica's remind us that sometimes the fate of the world rests in the hands of people we'd never expect. A 26-year-old rookie pilot who trusted her instincts when it mattered most. If this story gave you chills like it gave me, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear about real courage. Subscribe for more incredible stories of the heroes who keep us safe. I'll see you in the next one.